Hello, hello, ladies. How are you this evening? This is Taylor Thompson. We're talking to all the members here in the She Network, sharing her excellence. And I have my incredible, beautiful friend and founding circle member, Miss Donna Valdes. Donna, how are you?
Hi. I'm so excited to be here. And hello, everyone in the She Network and Miss Taylor Thompson, the queen of the She Network. I mean, let's, give her some props. Thank you for having me tonight. This is going to be fun.
Well, I'm so excited, and I just wanted to come on and introduce you and let everybody know how amazing you are. You are like one of those girls that had my back, cheering me on, saying, you've got to do this. I'll support you. Let me know whatever I can do. And so I just want to thank you openly, publicly, and just tell you how grateful and thankful I am to have you in my life. So I'm going to turn it over to you, and you're going to take off and share all the goods with them. So Here you go.
Thank you. So if you hear my dogs or my kids in the background, just be patient, please. I'm a mom. I'm a mompreneur as well. So I have 3 kids, been married 20 years, living in Tampa Bay. My girls are about ready to take the dogs for a walk, so they get a little excited. You guys have any pets? And they get like really nervous and excited every time they think they're going to go for a walk. So you might hear a little barking, but that's okay. This is live. I mean, this is real. I love that about this industry is the authenticity and the transparency when you make true connections of people. I mean, don't you love that? So let me give you a little bit about who I am. If you haven't met me or I haven't met you, I can't wait to do that. I can't wait to get back to live events. I mean, I'm a hugger. I love, meeting people at live events, and wow, I miss the conventions. I miss all the live, the magic that happens, hooking up with girlfriends that I haven't seen all year long. I miss that, and I can't wait to meet you. If I haven't met you in person yet, we will meet, I am sure, very soon at some event. Maybe I could talk Taylor into doing a She Network event. She'll have a heart attack. She'll have, I know her, she'll have anxiety just thinking about that, right? But there's a lot of great virtual events that are, on the books now. And so, if you haven't already attended a virtual event, don't let, what's going on in the world right now stop you from attending some of these events, generic, your company, whatever it might be. So I really strongly encourage you to stay plugged in. But I can't wait to meet you. So I started in the field, much like you, almost 24 years, 25 years ago. I am over 50. I know I look fantastic and fabulous. But I started in the field not knowing anything, and I failed miserably for the first couple of years. I remember my first check I made, it was selling a fiber drink. Someone said, hey, would you like to lose weight? And I'm like, duh. And they hand me this fiber drink that was nasty. It clumped up, and I remember drinking it. And they said, if you just sell this or ask someone to buy it, this is before the internet came along, before we had, the internet shopping stores, you can make money. And I think my first check was like $2.74. It was something ridiculous, but a light bulb went off in my head was if all I have to do is tell someone about this product, I could get paid, then that's pretty cool. What would happen? What if I took this seriously? And I remember going to my first convention, and I was in the sea of people, and you see, the leaders walk across stage, and mostly men, they were all top income earners, and they were making insane money. To me, it was crazy, like gangster money. Like, how was that possible for that people to make, $5,000, $10,000, $50,000 a month? Here I am, just barely scraping by. And I remember I was working a full-time job, and I couldn't even fathom replacing my income until I made the decision to do so. I spent a long time working on my belief, building my belief in this industry, building my belief in me, but more importantly was learning what this industry really was all about, because I had heard all those misconceptions. I had all these preconceived notions of what network marketing was. And I had to take some time and really build that belief. And it inoculated me from all the naysayers. And I got trained and I took some mentors' advice. I decided to become coachable and learned how to do this industry, how to do this profession correctly. And when I made the decision, I started to replace my income within a couple months. I grew to the top of my organization, traveled all over the world. I was so blessed to have traveled around the world a few times, supporting teams, went to the top in a few companies, and then I transitioned to a consultant. I have a passion for just helping people and helping companies do things right. I have this reputation known as the fixer. You know, if I see an issue, I like to fix it. I come up with ideas. And then I went from being a consultant to going to corporate. And that's what I do right now. Let me just close this a little bit. Sorry, guys. But people will drive by and I don't want you guys to be distracted. There we go. So I went corporate. And a lot of times, you know, there's definitely more money in the field, but I get asked a lot, why did I go corporate? I can tell you it was not for the money, because you can make more money in the field. But I learned a huge valuable lesson as you go through your company, as you go through your ranks, as you go from one company to another. Maybe you change companies. I like to think that you have the opportunity to learn something, right? I looked at them as not failures, but learning opportunities, and try to find whatever the lesson was. And sometimes it's hard to find a lesson when you're leaving a situation, right? Because you're pained. You know, I've had organizations taken from me. My check has gone down. The owner will, you know, change a comp plan. I've been frustrated. I've wanted to quit a million times. What I learned was all about integrity. You know, we preach a lot from stage, you know, lead your business with integrity. Integrity, integrity, integrity. It's almost nauseating how many times you'll hear that word when you go to an event, right? What I learned was integrity is great from me down. I can help control the integrity and transparency from me down, but it doesn't mean anything because it really comes from your CEO down, right? It comes from the company down. And that's when I made the decision to move into corporate, because I could not be in a position to, you know, make myself vulnerable, build another organization if I could not be where I would be ensured there was integrity at the corporate realm. So that's what I did. I went into corporate and try to work with companies that I feel have the bones to make things right for customers who are in distributors and make a good home. Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes I have more lessons to learn. But that was why. And it's been a journey that I love. It seems like such a forever ago when I first started in this industry. So if you're brand new, you're, you know, just starting, my best advice is just don't give up on you. You know, sometimes there's situations you may need to change your company. You may need to, you know, change whatever it might be, but just don't give up. When they say don't give up, it's you that you shouldn't give up on. Your dreams, your desires, things like that, whatever is getting you through the day. So my training tonight is all about how to avoid distractions, how to eliminate and crush your distractions, because I certainly know distractions. In fact, I think I have been up to level 2873 on Candy Crush. That's my distraction. I know and have watched General Hospital. I watched it with my mom as a kid. It's a, you know, I know all about distractions. Let me tell you, I mean, it's there. And so if you, let me ask this question for you. Had your business suffered at all in 2020? At all? For some people, your businesses have exploded. And for others, it's been a little stagnant. And for some, you might have actually seen a decrease in business. 2020 is the year of distractions, isn't it? I mean, you talk about some major distractions from, you know, a pandemic to an election to, you know, unrest and just every distraction has been thrown at people. And it can be tough to stay focused when you have stress and when you have nerves. You still believe in what you're doing. You still believe that you have the worthiness to succeed. But man, it's sometimes hard, isn't it, to just focus on your business. So first, don't beat yourself up. 2020 has been tough, but it's okay. It's okay if you were distracted, but after tonight, you don't get to have a pity party anymore. And I'm going to show you how to get yourself snapped right back into reality. This was an exercise, and I'll give you a little backstory. I've done this exercise with my team members, my companies, with distributors for years. Taught this to thousands of people. I don't think I've had even a single person come back and say, oh, that sucked, it didn't work. Not one, because what I'm going to show you works. I would encourage you doing it yourself tonight. You're going to need a piece of paper and a pen. That's it. Learn this exercise and then take it to the people on your team that have been stagnant, or maybe they have lost their way. Maybe they're not as focused. You know who is on your team that's not focused, even if it's a team of 2 or 2,000. You know, like when they stop returning your calls, they stop responding to your texts or your messages. Maybe they stopped enrolling customers. Maybe they just stopped being present in their business. You know who it is. This is the exercise you will want to do with them. Okay. So the backstory. I remember I was at the top. Once you get to, whatever your company is, you get to certain ranks of leadership and you get those perks, you enjoy the, trips or whatever it might be. You get to the higher ranks, you almost get this, I don't know, like this fellowship, community of people that work sideline to you, those leaders that work sideline to you. You become friends, because you share a bond of, a lot of energy and a lot of work to get into leadership, right? So you become friends with them. And I remember that I was in one company, I'd been there for 10 years, made it to the top, and I was friends with this guy. And, we would talk, if he needed help, I would help him out. If I had a team and he was doing a presentation, my team was always welcome. We became friends. And out of the blue, he gets terminated from the company. I mean, out of the blue, or at least for me, it was out of the blue, right? And I remember reading, getting the notification, that so-and-so had been terminated. We'll call him Rick. Rick gets terminated from the company for allegedly cross-sponsoring. And if you don't know what that is, I'm sure it's in your policies and procedures. Every single company I know has it in there. It means that if you approach someone that you did not personally sponsor or bring into your current company about another opportunity, that's called cross-sponsoring, right? And it is really, it's just tacky and it's stealing. You're stealing a distributor from someone else. And he gets terminated for cross-sponsoring. But I remember I was upset about it. I was really angry. And my company had an event in Boca Raton. And so I went down there and I'm worked up about this. I'm like, I can't believe he got terminated. That's wrongful termination. And oh my gosh, they can't, I can't believe they just did that. And, they just took his check. And I'm on a rampage about this because I'm pissed. And how could they do that? My company stands for all this ethics and all this integrity, and they're going to just take this guy's check, and I know him and he would never do that. And I'm going to set them right, and I'm going to set them straight. Like I'm somebody, right? Yeah, that was me. So I show up in Boca Raton, and the owner of the company who was going to do this, it was a leadership retreat. He's greeting everybody as they come into the room. And I remember going up and I said, hi. And he goes, hey, Donna, it's so good to see you here. Thank you for coming. And we get the small talk out of the way. And I said, hey, can I talk to you for a moment? Because I really want to talk to you about, why Rick, that's what we're calling him. Yeah, why Rick was terminated. I really think you guys made a mistake. And I really just want to talk to you about it. And I'm going to bat for him, right? I'm going to fix this. And the owner looked at me with a big smile on his face and said, sure, I'll be happy to talk to you about this. And he goes, in fact, you got a couple minutes right now? And I'm like, yeah, that'd be great. And this is at the Embassy Suites in Boca Raton. And every Embassy Suites, if you've never been in there, They have like, it's hollow on the inside, right? They got the bar, like you can look down as like this atrium kind of setup. And he walks me over to the bar. There was no one there. It was daytime. And he grabs a bar napkin. And he said, let's do something real quick. And I said, okay. He goes, what's motivating you this very moment? And I'm like, what? And he goes, this very instant. It's different than your why. We always hear every onboarding that you ever do, we've been taught to get to your distributor's new why. If your why doesn't make them cry, it's not strong enough, right? Which is great for the big picture, right? But sometimes you need to find out what's motivating you right now. What's important now? Acronym for win, right? If you want to win, we have to identify what is important to you right now. It could be you're trying to come up with Christmas money. You're trying to pay your mortgage. You're trying to pay your electric bill. For me at that time, it was I needed tuition for school, my kids' school. That's what my focus was. I know I needed X amount of dollars and I had to pay this bill on this certain date. And that was driving me at that moment. Like that was what I focused on. And everybody has something that they're focused on to get to immediately. Does it make sense? Whatever is important right now. And so he said, and I'm going to ask you to do this too. He said, he takes his napkin. We'll pretend this is a dinner napkin. And he said, he draws a circle. Not complicated. Circle, just like that. And he said, right in the center of it, what's important now? What is motivating you this very moment? Why are you working your business? What is the purpose of you working your business at this moment? So I put my kids' names. Grace, I had 2 at the time. Grace, Lewis, tuition, school. And it's going to be different for everybody. And this may be completely different than your why, the big picture why. This might be, like I said, an urgent need that you have to fill, whatever it is. Maybe there's a bonus or a contest your company's running, and you really need to find, 5 distributors or 10 customers. That needs to go inside your little bubble. So this is what mine looked like. Let's see if we can focus in. That's what I wrote, just like that. So then he goes and he draws a line going into it and one, like an arrow coming out of it, just like that. So draw 2 lines, an arrow going in and an arrow going out. And I'm looking at this and I'm going, okay, all right. And he then tells me that every single action I do has a consequence. A good or bad, every single action. And I'm either going to give to or take from whatever is in this. Think of this as a living, breathing concept, idea, purpose, need, whatever this is urgent. And all this white space is air. And your job is to feed it, right? If you're not, you're taking from. There's no in between. You're either giving to or taking from. And I went, huh, okay. So he said, all this time that I was down there and puffing up my chest to wrong this right, did I take from or give to? And I went, took from? And he went, exactly. And he goes, so you took, or you gave to Rick, you took from your children and gave it to Rick. And I went, like the light bulb went off. And I remember it just started, like tears are welling up because I'm a mama bear, right? And I'm like, oh, I can't believe I did that. And I start crying in the middle of the embassy suites right before we walk into this big event, right? And he was like, Donna, you are responsible for whatever you wrote inside that bubble. And you're also responsible for either making it come, feeding to, and you're responsible for taking from. it hit me like a lead brick. And he was like, it's going to be tough, but I want you in the habit of every single thing. And you make thousands of decisions every day. You make millions of decisions every single day. Get out of bed, get dressed, brush your teeth, eat, what you feed yourself. Try this one on. Do that 3-way phone call. Answer that text. Go out there and find another customer. Whatever you do, you're either taking to or giving to or taking from whatever you just wrote in that bubble. And it sucks. It really sucks because now it's made you completely responsible for your business. It made me completely responsible for what was on the inside of my bubble. And I'll tell you what, I didn't care. After that, you terminate them, that's on the company. It had nothing to do with my business. I needed to get to work and I needed to stay focused. And there are times, and that was 15 years ago. And I got to tell you, since then, there are times where I have been, I've suffered through depression. I've suffered through death. My mother had just passed away. I've had pets die. I've had raising kids, now Grace, he's 23. My son is 19. He's a fireman. I've got a 14-year-old. So I know all about life's distractions. But I can also tell you that if my business wasn't growing, I just had to look and see what I was doing. I had to look and see if I was allowing some distractions to distract me from what was important. What was important now? I've had to redo my bubble. Every time I get distracted, I redo that exercise. And then I will put this as a reminder wherever I need it. And it could be like on a little Post-it note. Put it on the bathroom, put it in the car, put it on my laptop, put it everywhere. And as you make these decisions throughout your day, you will get into a habit of asking yourself, am I giving to or taking from? And if you're okay with taking from over and over and over and over, then what you wrote in the middle of the circle isn't motivating you enough. It's not motivating your right, correct activity to build your business. This exercise takes less than 30 seconds to do, but has shaved lifetimes of errors and lollygagging around from teammates, myself, and people who take it seriously. So I challenge you to just be honest with yourself. This is for your own purpose. It's not for you to, share with your sponsor, your enroller, or, it's for your benefit, right? Just take a moment, draw a circle, and think what is important to you right now. Why are you doing your business? What is driving you to just do it at all right now? And it's different than your why. It's going to be whatever's important right now. And then I want you to draw those 2 lines, one pointing in, an arrow pointing in, and then an arrow pointing out. And then every single decision you make for the next 24 hours, just 24 hours, ask yourself, am I giving to or taking from? I know, and I promise you, the more you give to, meaning that you don't get distracted, you eliminate your distractions. Maybe you make more phone calls. Maybe you're sitting here and instead of playing Candy Crush, you're going to actually do some 3-way texts, or you're going to actually prospect someone. Instead of watching TV and wasting a couple hours, maybe you actually do something for your business. Do some personal development reading. Grab your book that you haven't picked up. How many times have you bought a book and you didn't finish it because you just got too tired, too lazy, or procrastinated through it, right? You are worthy of whatever you wrote inside. It's yours. Own it. Go get it. Now, I've had one person tell me, oh, so this is a guilt trip on yourself? Then it is. But I know with a visual, I'm a visual kind of person, that sparks more out of me and out of people that I've done that exercise with to get them right back in and say, you're right. And it sucks because it's total responsibility. It's not your upline's fault. It's not your enroller's fault. It's not the company's fault. It's not anyone's fault. If your business fails, when you look at that, it's only because you didn't give enough to it. It's a heavy responsibility. So Share this exercise with your team. I promise you it will keep them all on track. It takes away the pity party because you're entitled to be, okay, 2020 sucked. All right. It's all right. But what's important now? What's important right now? Right now, everyone I've talked to, they're just trying to get through the last quarter of this year. And maybe we can have some holiday cheer, and maybe just have a little bit of normalcy and get with our families and, just enjoy the treasured time of the last quarter of this year. But also the last quarter of this year is harvest season for you. It's the harvest season. All those seeds you planted, they haven't gone away. You just need to go make sure you get them watered and give them a lot of food and some sunshine, and then go pick your fruit. This, do it weekly, because this might change. Once you get tuition, for me, it was what else was important, right? I hope that was helpful, because I'll tell you what, there's nothing more humbling than crying in the embassy suites when the CEO tells you that you wasted a ton of time and energy on someone else's business. And that's as real as it gets. So I see you, Miss Taylor. You're on mute.
I said, wow, that was awesome. That was so good. I mean, I love that because, and I'll just chime right in because that's such a timely message, because there has been so many distractions this past year. There's always distractions, and they can be good distractions or bad distractions, no matter what. But what you said, and how you learned this particular lesson, I think is so relevant no matter what kind of distractions, because there's so many times that we want to fight for people, right? We think that we're helping people, or they're the underdog, or we want justice, right?
I've done that. Oh, yeah.
And I think we all, especially women, are geared that way. That mother bear comes out in us, don't mess with my people, and, right. and here's the thing. I learned this from Larry, and sometimes we have to remember that there's always two sides, and people don't always there's always two sides of the pancake. And sometimes if we only hear one, we can really get ourselves boxed in a corner if we start taking sides. And not that you can't be in somebody's corner, but the reality is that it's not your battle to fight.
Women generally, this is just because I'm a woman and I have a little bit of experience with this, the perfect distraction that this will help you with is gossip.
Yes.
We tend to gossip. I don't know why it sets off endorphins if we just hear, somebody screwing up somewhere, someone sleeping with someone's business did this, or, I can't believe this happened, and and I do it. I'll admit I will gossip, but I'm a whole lot better because of this. If you find someone in your organization that is the gossiper, look at their business. And if their business isn't growing, I would simply have that conversation and say, hey, are you here to build a business, or are you here just for the social? And sometimes they're here for the social, that's fine. Good. At least you know the lane they're in. But if someone is sitting there and broke and complaining about how broke they are, and they're still complaining about how broke they are, and all they do is gossip to you, then this is the exercise to say, hey, are you giving to or taking from? And for women, it's a strong reminder. For me, it's a strong reminder. I have done this to stop myself, close my mouth, close my mouth. And it's, I'm not giving to or taking from. The other thing I learned really quick from the same CEO with that lesson is I'm only in control of me. That's it. I don't get to control the company. I don't control sidelines. I don't control uplines, downlines. I don't control, heck, I have a hard time controlling my 2 dogs.
Yeah.
All I can control is me. And that's why this is this is not a guilt trip. This is empowering. This is such an empowering kind of exercise to say, I have the power, right, through my actions to either give to and I take from.
Yeah.
You know?
And I want to let's talk. I mean, like we can actually have a little bit of a deeper conversation just about that right now. And this is really, I mean, this has really been pretty heavy on my heart here lately, especially with all the distractions that we've had for 2020, especially because we're in an election year with all the stuff going on. Like this message is very timely as to where are you spending your time and where are you spending your energies as to how it relates with people you agree with or disagree with in a social media setting. And this can really apply. Are you responding or reacting to somebody's post that really is not going to change the world, and it's certainly not going to change your business one way or the other? And
Yeah.
it's such a relevant subject right now, and it's something that I think is a huge distraction. That here's the thing, like my message is like, just love people where they are. You know what I mean? Let's live the adage, let's just agree to disagree. Even because here's the thing, like your behavior is not going to change how they feel and vice versa. And there's no reason to get emotionally wound up in it. And it's not serving your business, and it's certainly not serving their business. I mean, I think this is a relevant subject matter, right?
It's not feeding to, you're taking from whatever you wrote in there, right? So let's say, like for you, for instance, the She Network, that's, very important to you, right? Building the She Network, bringing value to the She Network. So yeah, you take a look at your actions, and I have seen leaders decimate their online reputation because they're bantering over politics, religion, right, wrong, ethics, race. They're bantering, and they immediately have, because they've built and put all this energy in developing this online reputation, the minute you banter with someone, you already offended a certain segment.
Yeah.
And if you're okay with that, that's fine. But then is that taking to, or is it taken to or giving from? I mean, this is universal, right? It's universal.
It does. It's such a message.
You have to, when you're posting on social media right now, like, okay, a major leader leaves a company. Everybody wants to know why, what happened. They want to hear the drama. They want to hear the gossip. I'm with you. I'm like, hey, bless you wherever you go. I wish you continued success. Raise the profession. I mean, raise it. That's wonderful. And then that's it. Done. Because that person isn't giving to. There's that old saying, I'll care about, I can't pay my bills with your opinions. It's the same concept, right? Yeah. It's the same idea.
Yes.
So yeah, it's very, very timely. And I wish that, like, everyone, I used to call this the egg exercise. I actually give you full credit because you said what's important now. And I'm like, yeah, it's the win exercise. Because Larry and you guys talk about that all the time. And I'm like, and it's important to know it's not the same as your why. You know, like, it's totally different. So for instance, what's important now could be, let's get the She members information. Let's get them true value. Let's make them feel proud to be part of the community. Okay, so what are we doing to give to that or taking from that?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, there's such a big difference between those two, and the way that you see it, and the perspective of it. And it's one of those things, I mean, because it's like it's like in your business, right? I mean, it's clearly identifying what the activity is and its income producing activity. And a lot of times people get sidetracked or derailed thinking if they're doing posts or they're doing something in they're on their social media that's working their business. And it's really just busy work. It's not really where the rubber meets the road. You're not asking the question, will you buy my product or service, or will you join my team? And if you're not asking that question, everything else builds up and leads to that question, right? And this really is the same kind of, essentially kind of the same kind of mindset, that what are you doing right now that's either fueling this business and furthering it and moving it forward, or it's stalling it out and you're taking a few steps back. And,
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about this in the Thompson rule, 80, 15, and 5. And depending on life circumstances, let's, whenever you were taking care of your mom, right? You couldn't do anything and you had to focus on that because that's what was important right then, right?
Yep.
That was your priority right then. And it was okay because that was more important than whatever you were doing in your business, and it was okay to live with, right?
Absolutely.
That's the evaluation that everybody should be taking in consideration. Sick child, sick family member, whatever, life happens, and you have to balance that and equate that out, and making sure that the yin and the yang and the push and the pull is where you need to be in that moment, in that time, and in that space. So,
well, we're so used to we've been taught, right? And I taught it from stage, and I know you guys have taught it as well, as the onboarding process, the strategy session. We got to identify your goals, your 1 year, 5 year, 10-year goals, and what's your vision, and what's your why. I mean, now this takes that almost into the why is the end game. That's the destination, right? That's the end destination. This exercise will set up like, you ever go on a road trip and you look on the side of the road and you see the little mile markers, and you're at you count down those little mile markers, and all you want to do is get to the next mile marker. It's like you take a long road trip and you start breaking down in cities like, oh, let me just get to Charleston, please, knowing that you still had 10 hours of driving left to do. But as long as you got to Charleston, you won that day, right?
Yes.
Same concept. This is your little road markers, and people don't do anything with that. They just focus on the why, but sometimes that's not enough, and it's not enough to get someone straight. It's not, times are tough, but
well, and it comes down to, I talk about this too, because like the why is the result, right? Yeah. What you're talking about is the activity that gets to the result. That's, and so that mile marker, the analogy that you gave, that really is okay, we're going, here's the end. This is the result. This is the why, but what do I have to do today to get the car to move to get to the destination? That's really the biggest, that's what we're talking about here.
Yeah. Most people they want financial freedom. That's their why, right? They want to get out of debt. I hear that a lot. They want to get out of debt. So here could be, what's your first bill you got to pay? Is it a $2,000 credit card? Okay. So I would write in my circle, need to pay off my $2,000 credit card bill.
Yes.
And then watching 2 hours of TV a night, is that giving to or taken from? Taken from. I'm not going to reach, I need to feed this immediate need of paying this $2,000 credit card bill. What's going to give to that? Well, income producing activities.
Yes.
Not sitting here eating bonbons, doodling and playing Candy Crush. I mean,
and that comes down to, one of the pillars that Larry and I teach is the 5 self leaderships. It does come down to the self responsibility, right?
Oh, it sucks. It totally sucks, because now if I don't pay that bill, it's because I chose not to. I mean, that's when I started crying. I chose it. Do you know how humbling and humiliating it was when the CEO says, well, how did you like taking from your kids? And I'm like, what? Well, his name wasn't Rick, but that's the only name I come up with, right? Because he's still in the industry. And yeah, you just gave Rick, from your kids, and he actually got really visual about it. How did it feel you took from your children's mouths to give to Rick? And I'm like, okay.
It's such perspective, and it's such a visualization as to what people do every day. I mean, we've all been guilty of it at some point or another, but it is such a great reminder, because so many times Larry and I call it spotlighting. We want to take the spotlight off of us and put it was the company's fault. My products were late. It's my downline's fault. It's my upline's fault. We want to place the blame at someone else's feet instead of looking in the mirror and taking responsibility for what we did or did not do to move the ball forward to get to the end game.
Yeah.
Right?
And I would also suggest that people do this exercise with the people that they love and care about in the organization, but it's not to humiliate them. It's not to guilt trip them. You're just going to show them how to empower themselves so they could do the exercise for themselves by themselves. This is a very private, intimate kind of exercise. I mean, when you get right into it, because you're holding yourself accountable, right? So it's a very intimate kind of exercise in that sense. So I would just say, hey, do I have permission, to kind of help get you back on track? And if they say yes, then do the exercise and tell them. I would, and then you can remind them, have you done, update your bubble? Have you updated this, updated what's important now exercise? So they can do it for themselves by themselves. It's a self kind of reflection and accountability, because you don't want to have to be the accountability coach. Again, that's not taken to or from your circle, right? So this is really an empowering kind of exercise that you can teach others in your organization to keep themselves accountable to themselves and show them what's important now, keep them on track, especially right now. The distractions are social media is so full of distractions, and, it's only going to get worse, I think. And, as we gear up for now, we got, elections coming up, and then the holidays in itself are a distraction, right?
Yeah.
And, I think this is really timely. I think everybody needs to do it. Everyone should be shouting it from their mouth and be proud and celebrate when you accomplish what's in that little circle of yours. You get to update it, but that's the fun part. Is you know how freaking amazing it was to pay the tuition?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
I did that. I did that. It wasn't my upline. It wasn't the company. It was from my efforts. That is such a self-worthy kind of proclamation for women to just, heck, it could be pay your cell phone. Maybe your cell phone's going to get cut off, or your electric. How many people do we know went through that, rent forbearance or auto forbearance where, because of the pandemic, and now they're sitting here with 5 months due,
Yeah.
And then you did it. And then to do it because you did what was important. You gave too. Nothing, and no one will be able to take that from you. That win is yours.
Yeah.
That is the reward of all this. That is beyond getting the ultimate goal of being financially free. The fact you paid off that $2,000 credit card, that is what this is all about.
Yeah, indeed. Well, bravo. Hope you guys got some value today from our beautiful friend, Miss Donna Valdes, founding member here. So you guys give her some hugs and love, and I certainly appreciate. I'm going to say bye to you privately. So ladies, make sure you guys give her a big shout out and tell her how much you appreciate her. And
thank you.
All right, ladies, that's it for tonight, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.